Hi guys. So this lesson is going to be a little bit longer. It's got two pretty big, more difficult parts to go over. So make sure you're listening and you're writing everything down, and we're going to go over in class. So the two things that we're going to accomplish in this video are learn how to solve and graph compound inequalities with the word and then compound inequalities with the word or. So first, let me explain to you. I'll move my video over here. A compound inequality consists of two distinct inequalities joined by the word and or by the word or. So those are our two parts. We're going to start with the and inequalities. And inequalities, we are looking for solutions to both inequalities. So two inequalities, and you're looking for the solution that works for both of them. And on the graph, you're looking for an overlap. All right, so let me explain with an example. Here's an example. X is greater than 2 and X is less than 5. So when you're thinking about these, X is greater than 2, you should think that numbers greater than 2 are 3, 4, 5, and those are just the whole numbers. We're not talking decimals at the moment. And when you're thinking that X is less than 5, you're thinking numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and they can keep going past 1 into the negatives. So let's set up a graph. And I wrote down a bunch of numbers here. And let me demonstrate what I mean by the overlap. Well, if X is greater than 2, it's not equal to 2, so we would have a circle here, and it would mean everything going in this direction. And when X is less than 5, we're looking at everything from 5, not equal to 5, going in this direction. So you're looking for the overlap. And when you're looking for the overlap, I'm just going to pick a color here. The part where they both are intersecting is this spot right here, from here all the way to the 5. Now, they both should be open circles at 2 and at 5, and the part where they're crossing, and I'm just going to make it a thicker box, there we go, is from here to here. And so your graph is just the purple part with the number line. You don't need the blue and the green that I was using to demonstrate the overlap. Okay, so it should look like this, drawn out better than my trying to sketch. And that's one of your answers. That's your graph. Now, the way that you should properly write your inequality is by saying the X is in between here, and it's going from 2 to 5. The X is in between 2 and 5, and it's not equal to on either side. So both of these are your answers. This is one answer, the graph, and the other answer is your inequality. All right, so let's write down an important point here to remember. That inequalities must be written in order, and you should only use signs that are less than signs. It will be less than or equal to signs. So this makes sense that X is between 2 and 5, and if you were to read it from each angle, X is greater than 2 and X is less than 5. It does not work when you put in mixed signs. This means X is greater than 2, X is greater than 5. That's not it. This means X is less than 2 and X is greater than 5. No. And this means X is less than 5 and X is greater than 2. So none of these work. It should always be the less than symbol. So write yourself a note, put a highlight on that one. All right, so let's look at this. Here I'm giving you a single inequality where you should realize that it's an and one because we have two inequalities written there, and we're going to solve. Now, the m minus 4, we need to get rid of the minus 4. So what you're doing is you're going to be adding 4 to every side. We actually have 3 sides right now. So you add it to all pieces. Now, I don't need to see you writing that plus 4 every time. If you want to, you can. And when you simplify that, you should have 1. The sign stays the same because all we did was add by 4 is less than or equal to m is less than 3. So there's our first answer. We've written it. Now we have to graph it. When you graph it, I only need to see 2 numbers. Your 2 boundary numbers are 1 and then 3. Then we think about our symbols. I'm going to go back to that. Okay. 1 is equal to, so I'm going to fill in my circle there. 3, we have the less than. Let me make that one a little bit thinner. Okay, and we're going to shade between the two numbers because m is in between these two numbers. And that would be your inequality. Now, the same exact single inequality could be written as two inequalities, a double inequality, where we have -3 is less than m minus 4. And there's your and word, m minus 4 is less than -1. So all I did was break our original inequality down into two, and then you would solve each one, you'd get that with the end, and then you should have the same exact two answers, this one in the box, and our graph. Okay, so let's try this one. See if you can pause the video and try it on your own, and then see if you get the same answer. Okay, so to solve, you should have divided everything by 5. 8 divided by 5 is 1 3/5. And I wrote it as a mixed number because it's easier to understand where to graph it than if you just left 8/5. Is less than or equal to x, which is less than 6, because 30 divided by 5 is 6. So I'm just going to plot those two numbers, 1 3/5. And 6 goes here. Then I look at my symbols. So I have that it's equal to here, not equal to there, and I shade between them because that is where my x is. Okay. So let's look at this one. We can try this one together, and then I have another one for you to try on your own, which can be quite difficult. So here we have a lot more stuff going on in the middle. We need to undo this divide by 9 first. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply all three sides by 9. And I'll show you. It should look like this. Times 9, times 9, times 9. When you simplify that, you get this. Okay, now I need to get rid of that 6. To get rid of the 6, you subtract 6 to all three sides, and you should get this. Now, don't lose that sign. We had a -y there, so I have to undo -y. That's like a -1 for those who are a little bit confused. You divide everything by -1, you get a positive 33, less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to, oh, we divided by a negative. Ding, 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 ding. Divided by a negative here, and we flipped our signs. Wow. Okay, we got to remember to do that. So now we have this. However, remember when I told you that you should always have less than signs, and right now those signs are greater than. So we're actually going to flip the whole inequality, bring the -21 to the other side and 33 to the other side. So this, you got to be careful that how to write your answer correctly with only the less than signs. And remember that if you multiply or divide an inequality from our previous lessons, that you have to flip your signs. So now I'm going to graph. I have -21 all the way on the left, and I have 33 all the way on the right. I do not expect you to fill in numbers all the way between there. We fill in our signs. They're both equal to, so it's closed circles, and we shade between them. And that's it. Okay, here, try one more. This is from your textbook page 204, number 14, and I want you to try it on your own. See how you do, pause, and I'm going to just reveal the answer. Okay, so that should have been the answer, and then you should have made a graph. I should see two filled in circles at 14 and 26 with your line shaded between them. Okay, so moving on, now we're going to try the OR inequalities. So their solutions of a compound inequality involving OR is any number that makes either inequality true. So that word either, inequality true. So you're going to see two inequalities with the OR between them, and you're going to just solve each one and then graph each one. They can't be written as a single inequality like they did with OR. So here on the left side I subtracted 2, and on the right side I subtracted 5. Then I divide, and I get this. Okay, so now I just have to graph. Realize that on the right side we divided by a negative, so it flipped our sign. So now I just have to graph these. I have -3 would be over here on the left, and I would have 1 over here on the right. Let me grab my bigger one. R is less than -3, so that's an open circle. Less than, we're shading this way, and we're filling in our arrow. R is greater than 1, so it's not equal to 1, and we're going this way, and we're filling in our arrow. Okay. 2 more to look at. This one is number 22 from your textbook. So we have an OR. We're going to solve each side. If we solve the left, you add 3 to both sides, and you add 6 to both sides on the right. We get this. Then we divide both sides, 1 by 5, 1 by 4. No signs are flipping. So we have Z is greater than 2. So here's my 2. The other one is Z is less than -1. Here's my -1. Nothing is equal to, so we're going to do open circles. Z is greater than 2 means this way. And less than -1 means this way. Okay, last problem to try. Okay, so in this problem you can try it on your own and see how you do, or you can go along with me. On the left side you should subtract 7 to both sides, and on the right side you should divide by 4. However, the left side, you got to be careful. There's still that -C, so you're going to divide both sides by -1, and when you do that, realize that on this side over here, something's going to happen where your sign changes, and you get C is greater than 6, and C is less than or equal to 3. We plot these numbers. We have a 3, and we have a 6. Greater than 6 is an open circle at 6, and greater than, and less than or equal to 3, and going to the left. Okay, that's it for now. We're going to continue more in class. Have a good one.